Why is it that you know what you need to study, but an hour later you're still scrolling through your phone? Contrary to popular belief, it probably isn't laziness. It's a brain-based emotional regulation problem that happens to almost every student, including high achievers. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why your brain fights you when you try to study, what triggers it, and the evidence-based strategies that can actually break the cycle. Procrastination is when you voluntarily delay something you intend to do, even though you know the delay will make things worse. You know you need to do it, you want to get it done, but you irrationally just push it away. It's not that you don't care, procrastinators actually care deeply, which is why it's so painful. The problem isn't motivation, it's emotional regulation. You see, procrastination is short-term mood repair. When a task makes you anxious, overwhelmed, or feeling inadequate, your brain looks for the quickest way to feel better right now. Avoiding that task feels better immediately. You watch videos, reorganize your desk, text your friend, anything that removes the negative emotion. Your mood improves instantly, but the relief is temporary. Now you have less time, more pressure, and you've added guilt and panic to the original anxiety. This is why procrastination is a self-regulation failure, not a character flaw. Your brain is choosing immediate emotional comfort over long-term success. So what's happening in your brain when you procrastinate? Well, it's a battle between two systems. Your limbic system is emotional and instinctive. It includes your amygdala, which processes fear. When you look at that massive respiratory system chapter, your amygdala sends alarm signals. Like, this is hard, let's just not do this. The limbic system pushes you toward anything that makes you feel better immediately. Snapchat, YouTube, anything for that dopamine hit. Your prefrontal cortex, on the other hand, is rational. It sets goals and plans for the future. It's saying, yes, this is uncomfortable now, but it's necessary for what we want long term. But here's the thing. When you're stressed and overwhelmed, the limbic system typically overrides and outcompetes your prefrontal cortex. And there's a neurological reason for this. It's called temporal discounting. Your brain values immediate rewards much more than future ones. Scrolling Instagram right now feels intensely real. But knowing anatomy for an exam 3 weeks away? That barely registers emotionally. The future reward is too distant and vague. So your limbic system wins until the deadline gets close enough to make the threat immediate. That's why students end up cramming. Suddenly, the consequence is close enough for the rational brain to override the emotional one. Chronic procrastination can actually change your brain too. When you repeatedly choose avoidance, you strengthen neural pathways for distraction and weaken pathways for concentration. And the stress hormone cortisol, which impairs memory and cognitive function, that makes it even harder to study when you finally start. The bottom line is your emotional brain usually has the advantage. But once you understand this, you can use strategies to tip the balance. So what triggers this system in the first place? Well, research has identified very specific emotional triggers, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna recognize at least one of these. First is the fear of failure. If you don't really try, you can't really fail. You see, procrastinating protects your ego. See, I didn't have the time, but if I did, I would have done great. Then you have perfectionism. If you think you have to be flawless, starting becomes terrifying. You tell yourself you'll start when things are perfect, but that moment never comes. But then there's anxiety and overwhelm, and when the workload is massive, your brain can't process it all. You don't know where to begin, so you do nothing. Then, of course, we have boredom. Studying doesn't come with an immediate reward, so your brain gravitates towards anything else. You also have low self-efficacy. If you don't believe you can succeed, why invest energy in it? Students with imposter syndrome often procrastinate because engaging with work might prove their fears correct. So what does all this have in common? The task triggers negative emotion, and procrastination provides immediate relief. Your brain isn't sabotaging you, it's protecting your mood in the moment, sacrificing your future to do it. Breaking this cycle means addressing the emotional trigger directly, not just forcing yourself to try harder. And here's what surprises most people. Some of the biggest procrastinators are actually top students. There was a study that found that 96% of medical students are either moderate or severe academic procrastinators. If you're pre-med or med and you procrastinate, you're not the exception, you're the norm. Why? The sheer volume of material creates constant cognitive overload. Your brain looks at that mountain and just shuts down. Then second is identity. When your self-worth is tied to performance, every assignment feels like a test of your adequacy. This actually causes more procrastination. You avoid the task because engaging might reveal you're not capable enough. And last is mental health factors like chronic stress, anxiety, and burnout. Those things deplete your psychological resources to start difficult tasks. Understanding this helps you stop blaming yourself, and then you can start addressing the real problem. When you avoid tasks, your brain rewards this with dopamine. But the long-term consequences will build. The deadline approaches, and that adds guilt and panic to the original anxiety. So when you finally start in a frantic rush, you're stressed and exhausted with cortisol now flooding your system and impairing your focus. So then you finish, barely, but it reinforces a lesson. Well, I could start whenever I want, and I'm going to be just fine. Or, see this, I'm not good enough for this. I just can't do it. Right? It just starts this cycle over and over again. Chronic procrastination keeps cortisol elevated, which impairs memory and focus, making it harder to concentrate next time. You need more willpower, but you have less capacity. Harsh self-criticism creates more negative emotion, which makes you procrastinate more to avoid those feelings. This is why willpower alone will not save you. You need actual strategies to tackle this problem. The first thing you want to do is break tasks into micro goals. When something feels enormous, your brain's threat response activates. So you want to make it tiny. You want to use the Pomodoro technique. This is 25-minute sprints with 5-minute breaks. This will basically just reduce the cognitive load and stress on your system. And it's exactly why we designed Kenhub with the bite-sized lessons and clear learning paths that we did. It breaks down overwhelming anatomy into manageable chunks that your brain can actually handle. And here's the thing, when you finish, you're actually going to get like a ton of dopamine. And so you're feeling rewarded, you're feeling accomplished, and things are good. Next, you want to use implementation intention. This is where you create specific if-then plans. So like after dinner, I'll sit at my desk and review lecture notes. You pre-decide when and where. You remove the moment where procrastination sneaks in. Research shows students with if-then plans start homework within an hour or two versus 8 hours of delay without a plan. Then you're going to want to do cognitive reframing. How you talk to yourself impacts how willing you are to act. Saying things like, "This is so hard," just makes you want to do it less. Instead, I choose to study this because it will help me become a better clinician. Then next, you're going to want to build in immediate rewards. So passing the exam down the road isn't enough. You need something here and now. Get on your phone, make a sandwich, cry into your pillow. Is that one just me? But only reward yourself if you actually meet the goal. That way your brain starts associating work with payoff. And last, be nice to yourself. When you procrastinate, it's easy to linger in negative emotion, making you avoid tasks even more. So students who forgave themselves for procrastinating, they were less likely to procrastinate next time. Self-compassion reduces shame and guilt that feed the cycle. Overcoming procrastination is not about willpower, it's about strategy, and it's about tactics. And lucky for you, that's exactly why we built Kenhub the way we did. We designed our platform with these principles: manageable lessons, active recall quizzes, and clear learning paths so you always know what to do next. Why don't you go ahead and check it out for yourself with this free article that goes into more detail on why students procrastinate. You can go ahead and find that link in the description below. Thanks for taking the time to learn with me, and I will see you in the next one.